I'm the Commissar. We're watching Forged Alliance Forever, and you might have won your lane, but has your teammate won theirs? And can you consolidate on your win, or do you need to go back and help them? Let's find out in today's game. We have a North team, and we have a South team. On this Neuroxis-generated map, 5 players aside, let's meet the North team first. In this rearguard position, we have MichaelJackson, 1575 rated, and Eon, he is in mauve. And just in front of him, amusingly enough, we have Bill Cosby. He is 1373 rated, and Cybran, he's in red, and I'm going to try to not make jokes about those two this entire game, but I'm probably going to fail. In the foremost position in this fetching dark purple colour, we have HanSolo, who is 1356 rated, and Seraphim. On the other flank, this fellow here is also Seraphim. This is Shrimp 8. We saw him last week, I think. Who is 1260 rated and in white. And last but not least, in the rearguard position, might be the air position, don't know. This is RedhairyLlama, who is 1109 rated, and UEF, he's in orange. And their mirrors. In the back position, in the UEF, in dark green, and the game's highest rated player at 1808, this is FaffingOff. It's not the first time FaffingOff has been a problem for MichaelJackson or Bill Cosby, and it probably won't be the last. In front of him, we have Dimot, who was also in last game, I think. He's 1411 rated, and he is Eon in fecal brown. Heading forward here from the forward position, this is Kefka, who is 1347 rated, and Seraphim in burgundy. On the other flank, we have... where's he gone? There he is. Another repeat appearance on this channel, Sandman27, who is 1275 rated, and Eon in grey. And last but not least, at the back here, we have beechan. Beechan? I might call him B, or probably... we'll see how it turns out. Anyway, he's 827 rated, and Eon in yellow. And Han may not have shot first, but he certainly advanced first. His comm is all the way forward here at this expansion already. I think he walked straight after the Hydro, and he's already got 2 of these mixers down. Kefka also has all of these mixers down, but he did it with an engineer. And Sandman is sending out a couple of labs and a scout. Don't know how much that's going to pay off on this map, and speaking of, let's talk about the map. The map has lanes, 5 of them, or possibly 3 of them, depending on how you count them. And winning on one does not mean winning on all of them, so we could see different lanes going to different teams. Dimot out with a nice early drop here, and he's left a lab on the chariot transport so that it can shoot any cheeky engineers or tanks that come to contest it. That's a nice touch. And Dimot is claiming these forward mexes while Faffing expands further back. I approve of that. Looks like we might have a scuffle in mid soon between Han and Kefka. Oh, but I want to watch Dimot's bomber. I see this bomber from Dimot coming out here. Where's it heading? This would be an amazing pickup. Shrimp is on his way to T2, and he is surrounded by NGs. And that's 5 of them taken out in one hit by that bomber, and it looks like he's looping back to get the rest of them. Bang. 8 NGs taken out by this bomber, and Bill's inties come and shoot the bomber down, but nice work nevertheless. That will slow down Shrimp's upgrade. Han and Kefka scuffling it out. And we also have a bomber coming out from B. But he dropped the bomb on the common, not these NGs, which I think was a misclick. And by the time he comes round for another pass, the inties from Llama have taken him out. Looks like Bill Cosby and MichaelJackson are teaming up for the collaboration from hell, as it were, to both push down this channel where Sandman is on his own. And while Sandman has a bit of spam here, Michael has a lot more spam available in the area if he chooses to bring it in. Though Sandman is getting the gun upgrade on his column, the speed upgrade first, and then I would imagine the range. But we'll see about that soon enough. Oh, there's another bomber out. That bomber is from Faffing. It's got 1 kill and it's coming back from its mission rather than going out. Bill Cosby and MichaelJackson are naked. A phrase that I never thought I'd utter on a cast. But that Sandman isn't assisting his upgrade, so it might take him a little longer in order to get to He is indeed going for range straight after gun. He's asking for energy. Is he having problems with it? Where is he? There he is. Sandman. Oh, he's not having problems with it. And but he didn't build an energy storage before going for the gun, so running out of energy is a risk, and there he goes. However, Kefka is getting gun. We can't see it because we were watching Sandman for a while there. So is Llama. So is Han. Everyone going for gun, by the looks of things. And let's have a quick look at the eco, and South Team are quite significantly ahead, and that's mainly down to Faffing. Look at that, he is on 86 eco, compared to his mirror, MichaelJackson, only 55. Though none of the rest of the team are too sloppy either. He has the spam advantage, does Michael, but his com's a bit far back and he might lose all his spam now to Sandman's gun com. And Michael wisely falls back. He should be assisting Bill to get the gun upgrade here. But he's just standing there for now. Kefka sending a reasonable force forward, but there are turrets over here. Is there any arty in Kefka's mix? Yes, there is. And over here, we do have the gun still working for Han, so he'll have to rely on his spam to take out the push from Kefka. But Kefka's comm isn't really supporting it. He's only coming in around the flank. And so I think Kefka loses more than he had to here. Meanwhile, Han has finished the gun and is pushing in. Kefka already has gun. Meanwhile, Shrimp has come quite far forward against Dimot's spam and turret. Shrimp does have gun and T2, so he's easily able to tank out a T1 turret while we have Llama getting T2 behind him. But he's otherwise unsupported. However, I think we have over here some quite hefty damage going down on multiple comms. Both Kefka and Han are deep into the red. And Kefka's spam is swarming in on Han. Where's Han's spam? It's all the way back here. Kefka might be able to get the kill here as Han goes into the red and a lot of Zooey fire is raining down on Han. Yeah, look at this. He's not getting out of here, is he? 300, 200, boom! HanSolo is our first ejection from the game at 9 minutes 20. But we'd better have a look at Shrimp, because Shrimp is all the way forward here. His spam has come a bit forward, but Dimot, who has gun, is pressuring him. Dimot getting a bit trapped in amid the spam of Shrimp here. Nice little overcharge there, and Dimot is taking damage, but Shrimp, I think, will be falling back. Yeah, Shrimp is pulling back. And someone's I think Shrimp's advising Llama to go around and block Kefka, who is now uncontested by a comm over here. And as we see, MichaelJackson has inherited from HanSolo. Speaking of MichaelJackson, the two, shall we say, celebrities, MichaelJackson and Bill Cosby, both with gun, and Michael with the advanced range on his gun, are pushing in on Sandman. Now Sandman does have gun, but he doesn't have the advanced range. He only has a little bit of spam compared to this veritable horde of kiddies chasing MichaelJackson. A few bombs are able to do some damage here from Sandman, and remember that Auroras are the only T1 tanks which die in one hit to T1 bombers. So that is going to help Sandman out a bit, but he might be forced quite far back as Bill and Michael make their push forward. And look at that overcharge as half of Sandman's spam goes up in one horrific explosion. Is there any support? Well, B has the gun, and oh, he has the speed part of the gun, not the range. But he is coming forward to try and help against the push from Bill Cosby and MichaelJackson. Michael, with his weapon especially engorged there with the advanced range, means he'll be able to deal with these at a distance. And rather than going for the range on his gun, B is instead going for T2, but he cancels it as he sees the approach of the spam from MichaelJackson. And how can Sandman and B stop it? Well, they have to. No, it looks like for now Bill and Michael are retreating, and so we're going to rewind a bit and have a look at Kefka. Without Llama's comm to hide behind, without Hans' comm to hide behind, when Llama's come all the way over here, Kefka has a free run. Look at this, he's cleared up a bunch of mexes that used to belong to Han, and if he remembers that he's got this army here, he could push in and do some damage, and he does remember. However, the army that Michael has inherited from Han is chasing, and he may have missed the opportunity to get a decent amount of damage done, because there's exposed mexes here belonging to MichaelJackson. However, this army is nicely clumped up compared to this one, and he has got these units quite far forward compared to it. The RT is focusing this mex, I think, so we might see a fourth mex go down. And we do. So 4 mex is killed by that one by quite nice, but now Llama's comm is in position to ward off Kefka's forces coming down this passageway. Shrimp has put up Tech 2 point defense to hide behind and is going for the nano. He's already got gun and T2, so this would make him exceptionally tanky. Oh, but we have a wave of bombers coming in. Faffing has gun and is going for T2. Dimot has gun and the extra range now. And the bombs land on Shrimp. They're only T1 bombers and he's got T2, so this doesn't feel like much of a threat, and Shrimp's got his inties to ward it off. Dimot also sends a couple of bombers, and it is enough to force Shrimp to cancel. I don't think he had to cancel that. I think his inties were more than enough to stop the attack. but he has chosen to cancel, and so it goes. Now, I haven't talked much about Llama recently, but I just noticed these fellows right here. He is massing Janus fighter bombers. I do flip-flop quite a lot between saying Janus and Janus for that, and I probably will during the course of this cast, so you're just going to have to put up with that. But he's got 2 Tech 2 air factories producing them exclusively, and so I think he's cooking up something sneaky there. Michael has sent some tanks to push in mid, but Kefka has got T2 point defense up there as well as a bit of spam of his own, and so I don't think Michael's going to gain any traction there. Llama, rather than pushing himself, is just setting up a firebase, as the south team's comms do now outnumber the north teams, and so defense might be the order of the day. Michael's left his army here, which now has T2 shield coverage within it, which is quite nice, to keep back Sandman and B, but both MichaelJackson and Bill Cosby are retreating from their legions of adoring fans, and heading back into their dank and dark caves. Faffing has a TML on his comm, which we can see there. And it smacks into Shrimp, who yet again cancels his nano. Kefka and Michael scuffle again. Both have T2 in their mix, Ilshis versus Ilshis. And Faffing keeps on firing with his TML. He can reload it reasonably quickly with T2 on board, and I would say it's not generally worth going for the TML on your comm unless you also have T2 on board. It looks like he'll be able to pick up a T2 mech, which would be nice for him. I think that might have been TMD killed there, but it was killed at too late, and that mech is taken out. Meanwhile though, Dimot is advancing on Shrimp. Dimot is quite heavily damaged still, but he does have the advanced ranged gun. And he has these shields to hide behind. He's trying to dodge the point defense fire, but there is... Faffing took out this point defense. Nice work with his TML, but there's another point defense here from Llama, and Shrimp pushes forward. Dimot, however, has much more spam, and Faffing's comm is here to help. And it looks like Shrimp might be forced back, but he has taken Dimot down into the red with his gun. And look on the minimap, I think Llama is going to come in for a strike. Is he going to get Dimot with those Janus? We can see them up at the top of the screen there. They drop their bombs. Llama there, Dimot there, trying to dodge, but the Janus rain fire down on him. Dimot is walking through the fire, and boom! Dimot is our second ejection from the game, 16 minutes in, and now we are 4v4 again. And this could actually be quite a problem for South Team, as Shrimp still has all his spam, but Dimot's comm bomb killed most of his. Faffing inherits, of course, and Shrimp is pushing forward, but Faffing has not been idle. Remember, we commented on his very large eco. Well, he's got broadswords, T3 gunships, and they are coming in to take the hit on Shrimp, and if Shrimp goes up, so does his spam in the comm bomb, and I think there is no question that Shrimp is going up. Boom! Just 30 seconds after he kills Dimot with Llama's help, Shrimp is taken out by an airstrike from Faffing, and Bill Cosby does try to bring in his ASFs to help out, but Faffing has more of those and wins the air engagement. Meanwhile, on the other side, 3 heads could be better than 2, as Kefka, B, and Sandman all join together, bringing all 3 comms round this side with Sandman's T2 spam to push MichaelJackson back. However, MichaelJackson does have TP production. He's got Harbies here, he's got sniper bots here. The sniper bots in particular might be a problem for the comms. Sandman's spam is numerous, but I don't think there's T3 in there. Does he have a T3 HQ? No, he doesn't. And so MichaelJackson's high technology might win the day. Over here, those restorers, broadswords from Faffing are just able to pick off mexes for free because North Team simply don't have a response. But over here, MichaelJackson's production, he's got a heavily assisted T3 factory here, but I think that might be going down to barrages of Tech 1 Arty, the furthers out from Sandman, and Kefka advances quite far forward. This could be risky because he has got gun, he has got nano, and he has got D2, which makes him tanky, but there are sniper bots back here firing shots into him. There are Harbies up here pressuring him, and there aren't any mobile shields surviving here to cover him, and Kefka is down into the red. Are we going to see an ejection from Kefka at this stage? For Kefka at this stage of the game, he gets a crucial rank of veterancy and goes back up into the yellow though. And he's retreating as Sandman spam. Obsidians are pretty tough with their shields on them, and they are forcing the sniper bots back. The air from Faffing is really causing a problem for MichaelJackson's aerial barrage, which is otherwise doing quite good work, but it's been redirected over here, perhaps in an attempt to save Kefka, but Kefka nips under the shield that B has just put up, and it saves him from these Corsairs that Bill Cosby sent in, and Faffing's ASFs are more than enough to clear out the Corsairs. So clutch shield put up there by B to save his teammate. But those MMLs from MichaelJackson are breaking through the shields here belonging to Kefka, and it's given an opportunity for the Harbies from MichaelJackson to put in. The shields are down, and I don't know if there's enough here to stop those Harbies without the shields to help them out. This one's about to come back up, and it does. But the Harbies are close in now, and they could just nip under the shield and shoot it. Boom, the shield is down, and this firebase for Kefka is broken, thanks to a combination of Harbies and the mobile missile launchers that MichaelJackson has brought forward. Kefka is throwing up lines of unward PDs as his next line of defense, and that feels like not a great defense against Harbies and mobile missile launchers, but it's what he's got available, and so it's what he's doing. Hiding under the shield that B has put up, we're getting more upgrades going down on Sandman, who's putting the double range on his comm. Kefka's already very tooled up. And this artillery installation will be quite good for keeping back the sniper bots belonging to MichaelJackson. There hasn't really been any attempt made to colonize this area by either side. Faffing has claimed all the mexes in this little pocket here, so at the moment, look at this, we have very good map control actually for South Team, except in the middle, and all the tasty mexes are here and here, so I think it's that. Oh, though this is cheeky from Bill Cosby. However, MichaelJackson's push is beginning. Kefka has brought forward a couple of Urshis, but against these Harbies and MMLs, they have little chance, and there is a little bit of broadsword support here coming in from Faffing. But there isn't actually much air support, anti-air support that I can see in here for Mike, so the broadswords might be the play. But if they're going to make that play, they're going to happen soon, because this scattering of T1 PDs, which has increased, is really no match for mobile missile launchers and Harbies. That said, this is a mistake from Michael. All his bots are either dead or at the back, and so the mobile missile launchers are the ones fronting it against the Urshis, and the Urshis will be able to eat them for free. We only have T1 air defense interceptors from Michael, and so Faffing's ASFs can easily clear that up. There is a flak or two coming in under these shields at the back there, but the broadsword has got a lot of damage done, and it is forcing a bit of a retreat from Michael. However, Bill Cosby brings in his interceptor, his ASFs rather, and the ASFs from Faffing choose not to take the fight. MichaelJackson has been warded off for now. For a little while, North Team has actually taken the eco lead there. We remember that we saw South Team have the eco advantage for a while, but despite having the map control both here and here, North Team have the eco advantage. Will that last, however, when South Team start developing these areas that they've laid claim to? And it looks like we might be able to have another push coming in from MichaelJackson. Shield going down for Sandman, and Shield has already gone down on B, so they are now very toured up comms. Will it be enough against this ever-increasing armor from MichaelJackson? I don't know. However, look at the mobile missile launchers. Look, they could just pop these point defenses without even coming near. Othiums are massing for Kefka, and he's trying to put a shield up to protect them. But to make the Othiums pay, he's going to have to get in close, and that could be an issue when this is all mobile missile launchers, backed up by Harbies. But Michael's advancing. Oh, and there's a shield here. Does MichaelJackson know about the Othiums? He doesn't. So he is going to be in for an unpleasant surprise when those Othiums unleash their short-range heavy firepower on his army. Look at that. Nice ambush from Kefka, and MichaelJackson is going to be forced back by the Othiums. That was nice. Making use of the stealth to cover the Othiums so that they could make use of their short range. However, he's not chasing them as he perhaps should. And MichaelJackson will get away with a decent proportion of the army. It does, however, mean that he's got a chance to put up more defences here. Though it should be some tech 2-point defence or even artillery, I feel, to counter these things over here. There is a miasma artillery installation in here, but these toured up comms are not finding either the courage or the pressure to push these guys back, and there's a lot of sniper bots in here. However, we haven't really looked at the eco for since saying, actually that was quite recent when North Team were ahead, but look at the difference now. FaffingOff has suddenly boomed. Now, sure, he's on 2 bases, but both MichaelJackson and Bill Cosby are on 2 bases each, so that's 4 bases total, and yet Faffing still has more than both of them combined. And that huge advantage, that's a 50% eco lead there for the South team. And it is now up to them to turn it into a win. They've got the eco lead, they've got the map control, they've got very tooled up comms. What are they gonna do with it? It would take a lot for them to throw this. This is their game to lose right now, but I've said that before and we've seen epic comebacks, so are we gonna see one from the North team right now? Are our rather dodgy celebrities going to defeat the pressure they face from FaffingOff this time, or is it going to be just a bit too much for them, and are they going to be sent to Faff prison? Michael has set up his own fortification here, but the shield falls. And I think he was relying on overflow from his team, because he is now suddenly massively power stored. This is the chance, if they see it, for South team to strike, but they haven't seen it. However, the shields have fallen here, and it is giving a chance for firepower from South team to make an attack, but our first experimental, despite the eco difference, is out from North team, and it's a fatty from Llama. Oh, big Corsair snipe from Bill, going for Kefka, but Kefka was under the shield and dodging. And it almost entirely misses him. Bill takes the airfight as Faffing destroys the Corsairs. Faffing's micro seems to be reasonably good. Don't see a problem with his or with Bill's, and I think it might end, but Bill's bringing in more, and I think Bill Cosby, despite losing his Corsairs and not even hurting Kefka, has won the air fight against FaffingOff. Now he has to expand his air grid and make something of it. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factories at T3 Air, compared to Faffing, who has only 5. So with that air win, that could be a big game changer for the North. North team have air, and Llama also has an air grid of 4 factories. So and I don't think anybody else on South team has an air grid. No, they don't. But Faffing has completed a GC. We'll follow that in a bit. This army is huge now. It can and now that the comms are falling back, despite their tooling up, Sandman is falling back, Kefka's falling back. B is very bravely staying forward and building artillery, but that might be a little too brave when this army comes charging down on him. And there is mobile missile launcher firepower in here. Eon tactical missile defenses are the best tactical missile defenses to cover a small area like this. And there are several in here, so I don't think the MMOs are going to get much work done. But a few of them are impacting the shield. This, however, is huge. Does Michael know what he's up against? I mean, he basically does, yeah. I think he's got Omni covering this area. He can see what's going on. He knows that he should definitely be able to just push in, bring this army up to like here, and let the sniper bots clear it all up. He would succeed at that. But he hasn't done it yet. Where's the fatty going from Llama? Oh, we've got this bug back. Really? Really? My guys. You fixed this, and now we've got the fatty leaving Hydros and Mexes instead of Tartrax. Ah, here. And now, this forward position fortified by B is beginning to fall. Just push forward, MichaelJackson. A phrase that people have not often said. So Llama is going to fortify this position. Faffing hasn't really made much use of his position here, I feel. He could have done more with it. He's got a decent sized army, but what's he doing? And meanwhile, his Galactic Colossus is coming forward against MichaelJackson's fortification here. Anyway, we just saw MichaelJackson finishing a GC, so maybe that is why he wasn't pushing. Maybe he's waiting for that GC. Where is it? There it is. Coming forward. Dimot is instructing Kefka to send his Othians forward in support of the GC. And while this GC probably will take this base out reasonably well, the Othian support would be nice. The fatty is also... Do they actually know about the fatty? Oh! They don't know about the fatty, but I'm more interested over here because it turns out that MichaelJackson is not waiting for the GC. MichaelJackson is pushing in. And this base easily falls once the Harveys apply the pressure. B falls back. He will be insane not to again when he sees this force coming. And that firebase is taken out, but he is again pausing. Faffing has given the GC to Kefka, so we can micro it with his Othiums, but now they're going to know about the fatty because now it's opening fire. And Kefka does not choose to take the push against that fatty. That's probably why the fatty could kite back into this firebase and absolutely shred. Meanwhile, though, Faffing has finished a Tsar. I think he thinks he's got air. I don't think he has, you know. I think that he has not got air against this force and this force. Though if I were Llama, I would choose to give my ASFs to Bill Cosby so he could micro them. That was probably a misclick. That Othio and that Artie are just going to die for free. And Michael is moving his army forward here. This line of point defences from B is probably not going to be enough. B has brought forward a GC, but I think there's enough firepower. Nope, nope. Michael is pulling back. He does not wish to take the GC and the point defense. He was just, you know, dangling his army over the balcony there, as it were. But now, of course, he'll get to meet up with his own GC, and if I have the choice of GC versus GC and Gigantic Army, I think I know which is going to win. My money is on MichaelJackson with all his shield bubbles. That's a lot of shield bubbles. And, of course, shield bubbles are not very good for supporting the GC because the GC towers over them and the shots just go over the shield bubbles. But nonetheless, it will support everything else from getting shot by the GC, and the fight is going to go down. MichaelJackson, who is blowing bubbles, as I think he was famous for, simply surrounds his... He's not really getting much damage in there, though, and so his GC will win, of course. It's got an army with it, but this GC took... His own GC took more damage than I was expecting from that fight. And it looks like Bill was coming in with corsairs to finish it off, but it turned out he didn't need to. Bill Cosby late to the party. Meanwhile, the Tsar from Faffing has come forward, but it's been repelled by anti-air from taking out this lot here. The Fatty is repositioning. Can the GC from Kefka that Faffing gave him... Oh no, this is where we've got to watch. This is the air fight. Bill Cosby takes the air fight against Faffing. The Tsar does have a lot of anti-air support, but that's not enough. And look at that. Bill Cosby shreds the air belonging to FaffingOff, takes out the Tsar. It falls down, and Bill Cosby wins the air fight once again. And without the Tsar, this fatty is free to just come forward and pummel the army advances from Kefka and force it back once more. Kefka simply cannot compete with the fatty, which has a huge fire base to kite back to. Michael, meanwhile, is going for the push. MichaelJackson charges face first into the base belonging to Sandman and Beechan. And it's going to be very hard to stop this. How are they going to manage? Are they going to manage? Could this be... While the two other lanes are entirely in the hands of South Team, this lane is unquestionably in the hands of North Team, and if even one of the lanes falls this badly, is there any comeback? Well, Faffing has got yet another Tsar, which is coming in to take the fight. There's a lot of anti-air in this mix. And Bill Cosby's ASF are on point again. Bill's been very good at this. Faffing brings what ASF he has, but Bill isn't taking this air fight. He knows there are a lot of Sams and Flaks here belonging to the South Team, and he doesn't want to go in, and therefore neither does MichaelJackson. He doesn't want to get his GC just shot down by the Tsar. Meanwhile, the pressure from Llama has advanced, and Kefka is going for it. He's pushing forward, partly to secure this reclaim, which he's picking up. That's a good choice. But the Fat Boy is doing exactly what you would expect a Fat Boy to do in this situation, and running away despite the tasty snack its engineers could pick up here. However, this is the correct choice, denying the Fat Boy its food and kiting back. And the GC is just taking a pounding from the fatty belonging to Llama. Bill's finished in XP, and we'll check out what that is in a moment. And no, Kefka is gonna pull back. What's Bill built? Cannot see it. Oh, Corsairs. Corsairs come in on the GC, and the fatty actually pushes back, trying to chase the GC. However, these Corsairs are currently unsupported. Faffing takes the air fight and runs away before Bill can bring his ASFs to bear. And that's a Billy nuke. Who's got the Billy nuke? It is Faffing. Faffing has fired a Billy nuke at the Fat Boy. Boom. It'll lower the shields, but meanwhile the airfight goes down, which Bill Cosby wins yet again despite the anti-air tanks here from Kefka. The fatty has lost most of its shield by the looks of things, though it does have mobile shields in support, which is always wise when sending a fatty into play. And Faffing fires another Billy targeted at where the Fat Boy's gonna be, but the swarm of mobile shields is probably, I think, gonna be enough to block it. Let's have a look at this fatty surrounded by shields. As the Billy comes in, boom, it does take the fatty's shield down, and the fatty does lose no health at all. Take that back. But the Billy is just not quite getting the damage done. And meanwhile, we have a Novax out from Llama. Now, what's that going to be able to achieve, and where is it? There it is. It's at the back, and this is a great use for a Novax, picking up exposed pigeons and mexes that are too far away from shield cover. So this is good play from Llama. There is that's the experiment, to build both a chicken, but Faffing is advancing into it, and Faffing has a huge army here. However, there is crossfire from the fatty belonging to Llama, whose name I absolutely completely forgot there, and Faffing is going to be forced to pull back. He does try to billy this army though, which is like there are tactical missile defenses here, but that's not going to stop it, I don't think, or maybe it is. Boom! And that's now a lot of mass killed on Faffing's comm. I think that was about that one billy hit did about 15k of damage there. Meanwhile, this push has not been very successful. The GC has fallen, and the Othians are swarming down on the fatty, but is it going to be enough? There's a big army here from MichaelJackson, but meanwhile we have the chicken from Bill, which is advancing into Faffing's army, and Faffing does have a decent sized army here, and what he's going to do is, by the looks of things, yes, look, he's going to surround the chicken, because the chicken can only really fire in one direction, and there's also these Ravager turrets going up, and that chicken is toast! Boom! Back to the fatty, although we're going to have to look at this in a minute. Faffing has a Novax flying overhead, and another Billy is targeted on it. However, the shields might still cause a problem for that Billy. The Novax is a nice touch, and it is damaging the fatty under here. Where's that Billy? Boom! It actually basically misses the fatty, but it's done some damage to Michael's army, and Michael falls back. However, this is a big loss for Kefka here, and the Novax continues tickling at the fatty, but it's gonna move under some shields. Meanwhile, having destroyed this chicken, as we saw a minute ago, Faffing's army is advancing because he billied most of this. However, the fatty, under multiple shields, is able to range this with its defensive fire. You can see the fatty fire coming over the little hillside there. Those Harvey, and that's a huge bank of Ravagers there from Llama. I do not know if Faffing has the ability. No, Faffing is going to fall back here. He cannot take this level of defensive fire, and he is going to fall back. On the other hand, on the other flank, Michael is massing a huge army, and he now has 2 GCs. And the eco is evening out. Sure, South Team still have the lead, but it's only, quotation marks, only 200 mass per tick at this stage. The Novax from Llama is killing both power and mexes belong to Faffing, and despite what I saw Shrimp saying earlier, don't go for mexes, go for power, I do think that taking out the mexes is still a good idea because they're exposed. It's a great use for a Novax, whereas the Novax from Faffing is trying to break through the shield to hit the artillery installation that has almost finished for MichaelJackson. We'll have to check back on that later. But this is quite an interesting shenanigan too. We have a GC and chicken backed up by an artillery bombardment to break through these shields. But we can see over here 2 more Zars from Faffing, but Llama's ASFs are in position. Will the... There's got to be the air fight. Look at this. Here's Faffing versus Llama. Llama brings in his ASFs, and he's going to lose them all, but he takes out the Tsar, and Bill Cosby brings in his ASFs. And it's Bill Cosby taking the air fight. The Tsar is down, and I think Faffing is going to lose his air once again. That is brutal. Back to the left-hand side, where we have these experimenters advancing from B and Kefka. But this I do like, because these units I think are quite underused. The Eon Shield Disrupt tanks, although those ones have quite poor line of sight there. Because of this huge horde of shields that MichaelJackson has covered with units with, The very long-range shield disruptors are just clearing a path for this huge bank of mobile arty to smash through. Meanwhile, the XBs from B and Kefka engage this first GC from Michael. And they're going to take it down. The second GC from Michael engages, but it's already taken damage from the arty. Both are targeting the GC of B. But this GC from Michael is going to go down first. And the other one is focused by both experimenters, although B's GC is deep in the red. There's also supporting fire from these armies here. Where's Kefka's army gone? Must be dead by now. Down falls the GC from B. Thump. But the chicken from Kefka is still firing. Meanwhile, Llama is pushing in with a Fatty and support from Bill over here, but Faffing has his own Fatty bombarding Llama's forces. He's got his Billy loaded, and that might be a good use for the Billy, but he's going in with the Tsar. And the Billy goes for Michael's army that's now massing in the middle as well, with Michael with armies on both sides. Here comes the Billy. Boom! And that is pretty nice damage. Meanwhile, though, the other Tsar is coming forward, and where is Bill Cosby's air response? The Fatties exchange fire. And back to the fight on the left-hand side, where MichaelJackson's second Colossus is taken down, and Kefka's chicken rather, dies amid the Harbies from MichaelJackson. And look at its Ion Storm wreaking havoc on those Eon bots. They are being torn apart by the electric shockwave. And now we have Rambo SCUs coming forward for Sandman. Back to Faffing's Flying Fortress against the Fatty. And it's going to come in. Where's the air response? I think that this Flying Fortress might win against the Fatty. Boom! It is down and out, but here comes the air. This is only air from Llama. There's not enough there, and Faffing is going to be able to take it. As another Billy hits the army over here. Billies and Tsars, and the Tsar is falling back undamaged. Back to Sandman as he continues the push. And supported by these artilleries, I don't think there's really much to stop this bank of SCUs. As another one comes forward, I am wondering where the anti-air is though, and Harbies would be useful to come and eat up these wrecks. Because don't forget that Harbies have reclaimed capacity. But where's the anti-air for the SCUs? And this Fatty, though it shields down, has survived. Is Faffing going to be able to push? Looks like Bill might have a response, and it's these Corsairs. He's been using Corsairs quite a bit, and they are going to target the SCUs. However, Rambo SCUs have a lot of shield capacity on them, and I do not know if this is enough Corsairs before South Team is able to muster an air response. However, these might make the difference. These are whaler gunships, and these can really put out heavy fire. However, SCUs, of course, have T3 build capacity, and they are just throwing up SAMs like nobody's business. And some of the Rambo comms are popping, and I think this might be enough to hold back the push. Here comes the air response from Faffing, but Bill Cosby's ASFs are on hand, and they're going to clear it up. Faffing again loses the air fight, and these whalers are free to continue their work on the Rambo comms, who are desperately trying to put up SAMs, but they're barely finishing any of them. As one after another pops, and Bill Cosby takes yet another air win as we have a bunch of whalers just mashing what's left of the attack force from Sandman. Meanwhile, Faffing's Fatty is flattening the forces belonging to the team from the north. We do have tactical missiles by the looks of things coming out from quite a large tactical missile bank here. And they do take a few hits off the Fatty's shield. And the Fatty's shield goes down. But I don't know if they're accurate enough at this range to take out the Fatty. Faffing brings his ASFs in and they drive off the broadswords, but in comes Bill with his Air Force again, and this is getting a bit repetitive, Faffing. You keep on losing your Air Force to Bill's air. However, it has given Sandman a chance to put up a few flaks here. With these flaks, with these SAMs, the next wave of Rambo SCUs might be able to get a little bit more done. Meanwhile, though, I think we need to take a look at the long-range game. We have 2 Nova Seas from Faffing now coming in, but look at the arty. There is 2 emissaries out from MichaelJackson, and there's another one queued up here. Do we have any artillery over here? We've got a Novax from RedhairyLlama, and we've got an artillery under construction for Faffing, but at the moment it seems like it's the north team who have the artillery advantage. Will these Nova Seas be able to do any work? They're trying to target this arty, but it's covered with shields. Huge TML wave from MichaelJackson. And it's going for the wreck of the GC, and it's done actually quite a lot of damage to the reclaim there. That's denied a decent amount of mass for the SCUs to reclaim, so nice move. Was it worth that many tactical missiles? I don't know, but it certainly did what it was hoping to achieve. Sneaky GC coming through the canyon from B there, but I think Faffing might be about to lose yet another Tsar to the Air Force of Bill Cosby, and he does. The Tsar plummets to the ground under fire from the swarming ASFs of Bill. How many is that he's lost now? I've lost count. The Fatty from Llama is pushing forward, and it is yet again forcing back the chicken from Kefka. That's another story we've seen more than once this game. B's GC is under fire as it makes from the Fatty up here, as it makes a little foray towards Michael's force. But this support from the Rambo comms and the artillery is nice. And it hasn't taken that much damage from the Fatty yet, has this GC, so it might get some work done. Down here, how are we doing? And up here, how are we doing with the long-range game? Well, the Nova Seas are targeting the power. Hopefully, I presume, in an attempt to get the shield down. I don't think that it's going to actually do that, because MichaelJackson has an immense overflow of power here. But they're targeting the power generators nonetheless. Llama's one, however, has been doing nice work. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mechs is taken out. And if we look at the reclaim amounts, those were all T3 mechs that he took out with that Novax. So that is why North Team actually have the eco lead now by 200. So this really has been paying off, this Novax, for RedhairyLlama. Meanwhile, that GC has made a pass around, but there's an arse washer, an Arwasa experimental bomber. Ouch, ow, that looked painful. Boom, from Bill Cosby, and it's the SCUs are falling, the arty from Salmon is falling, and there's air cover to make sure that Faffing can't snipe it out as it comes back to try and hit the GC. The bomb is off. And now that GC is looking a lot less healthy than it was before. However, it is taking out a decent amount of MichaelJackson's production and might hit some eco here. Meanwhile, we can see that the Fatty Fire has been ended up with Faffings winning the day. I won't bother rewinding for that because it's just a couple of fatties, and we're more interested in this GC, which has done a lot of damage, though it could have probably shot up these mexes a bit better. And now I think it's going to die to the wave of weapons advancing, and it does, leaving the Washer free to bomb this lot. And these SCUs are tanking the damage well, but they won't be able to tank it forever. And South Team's attack is losing the momentum as North Team is tearing it apart. There's also the covering fire from this other fatty of llamas. Faffings is taking damage, and he's massing an army here. It can't move here, it has to move that way, so I would have left it under the shields until he's ready to move. However, you know what I want to look at now is the arty game. Now, I know I haven't used split screen much recently because I like to focus now on one fight at a time, but this is one fight. It just happens to be on both sides of the map, and the Novax here is breaking through. Shields are desperately going up, but the arty has broken through here. So, which one is going to go down first? But the Novax is not targeting the arty here, and that could be a mistake. It had a chance there, and the shields are going down. This second arty might just be straight up denied from Faffing. But the arty is hitting. The shields are up here. The shields are up here. And more are being thrown up all the time. We had close shaves on both sides there, but I think the defences might now be enough to hold. And the Novaces are now targeting over here. There are openings though. These shields are down. Look at this, the shields are dropping and flicking up on both sides. But there are kills being made here. Mass fabs, pigeons going down. But the arty is surviving, and I think the arty is what has to survive at this time. But here's a breakthrough. Are we going to see... Nope, the shield pops up again, but that is going to be the difference. Let's go and have a look at that nuke. The nuke is here for Bill Cosby, and it looks like it's going... Yeah, look, there's the marker. It's going for Faffing's comm, and Faffing does not have any S&D here. He is running for his life from the nuclear missile. I think the nuke is only going to kill these shields, but it's got Faffing out into the open. Are they going to be able to take advantage of it? And on the minimap, meanwhile, the arse washer is down here. There's the nuke taking out a few shields, but I'm not really interested in that right now. I'm interested in the washer. Faffing is sending his air to defend his comm, but the washer's back here. And there's another nuke targeted on Faffing as Bill Cosby takes the air fight. And for once, Faffing might be going to win the air fight, but it's not in time. And he is, but it's not in time to stop the washer from dropping its bomb. The washer falls. It falls on Faffing, doing half his damage. The bomb does almost all the rest. He's only got 1,500 hit points remaining, but that is not going to matter because in his attempts to dodge the washer, he's left himself standing right where that nuke is going to fall. And Faffing is there, walking out to the washer wreck, but boom! Faffing, the highest rated player in the game, is ejected by the nuclear missile from Bill Cosby as he tries to dodge an arse washer. Bill Cosby finally winning his victory against FaffingOff. How different from real... I said I wasn't going to do that, and I've done that like 20 times. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, South Team though, they still have the eco lead. That's it, they've recovered the eco lead. They still have map control because they've got all the map control. They've got both these side pockets. They've rendered the middle most of your no man's land. But the arty has just been broken. Lucky I zoomed in on that in time. The arty has just been broken, and suddenly it is all about North Team. We do see that the arty is broken through here a bit as well, or maybe the Nova Seas, but that doesn't matter because MichaelJackson still has loads of power. He has 2 arties and a third almost finished. No, he has 3 arties and a 4th almost finished. This is wild, and we've got another one going up from... forgotten his name. That's MichaelJackson with all the arties, and Bill Cosby, who's about to finish one. So MichaelJackson's artillery bombardment is really doing the damage to South Team. However, we have a big raid coming in here. The GC is down, but the Rambo SCUs are still up and running. However, Rambo SCUs are having trouble against the chicken. If they're able to get in behind it, that could do some damage. But no, they are not. Causing this to explode might be good. They're trying to micro around the chicken, but the chicken turns around, and I think that they're not long for this world. They focus on the grid instead, but the shield pops up just in time. There's still one alive as he nips under the shield, but under this barrage of chicken fire, I don't think there's going to be much he's able to do. Nice reclaim to stop it going volatile. And down goes the SCU. We have a big push with multiple chickens in the middle, but this is from Kefka, but this is a lot of ravages from RedhairyLlama, and the sniper bots are also going to be doing some work, although the Oculus do seem to be running them down. The Fatty will provide push fire for Llama though, and that will definitely help them out. And there is another GC coming in from Sandman, but I don't think that's going to be much of a problem for, as these chickens are doing their work. Where's the nuke out from Bill going this time? Well, it's just going to take out this army. Although I think the army's advancing far enough, and look at the damage that the RT is doing. We'll come back to that in a bit. This army is advancing far enough that the nuke isn't actually going to hurt it. So these two chickens might be the last best hope for peace on South Team. Yeah, look, that's basically going to hit nothing. Doesn't really kill much. I don't think, you might not think that that's enough to pay for 3 nukes. It isn't. It's not even enough to pay for 1 nuke, let alone okay, 1 nuke and a bit, let alone the launcher. But it did kill Faffing. But that last nuke, so I think it did pay for itself really, but that last nuke was wasted. However, this isn't going to be enough. It's going to crush some production, and it is going to get some eco, but it's not enough to really break North Team, and it could be that despite the map control, despite the eco, the RT is going to win the day, as these chickens from MichaelJackson smash their way through the Oculus. Both of Kefka's chickens are dead, and MichaelJackson has 2 chickens firing down upon the Oculus. And the RT pressure is too much. Beechan, though, has a salvation under construction, which has just got into the green. If that can get active in time, that might be enough. But the base that used to belong to Faffing has been pounded, absolutely pounded, to the level that Chuck Tingle might be writing a book about it. However, the salvation into the green, look how much they've got done of it. They have got 88% done of it, so that's like 220,000 mass right there, and the RT is breaking through the shields. This will be a huge investment to lose. The Quantum Gateway is down. Oh, did you see that? And it's down. The salvation for B is lost, and that is horrific. And the rest of his entire power and mass grid is following to the RT fire. I think that, my loyal viewers, is the moment that the game turns around. Too late, rip, says B and Faffing. And there are these Rambocoms still trickling in from Sandman, and that's not a bad choice, because this eco is now basically exposed, but there are now multiple experimenters coming out from MichaelJackson, and I think the tide has turned, despite the map control, despite the eco lead for almost the entire game. And indeed, look, they've actually collected 3 full Mavos worth more mass over the entire game, have South Team than North Team. They weren't able to convert it into enough pressure, and now it is Kefka's base, which is being crushed by the artillery fire. It's over, says Kefka, and I do not think he's wrong. Sandman just gives everything to Kefka. Sandman, who is standing here, does not care anymore. The Rambo comms are popping. But look at the combined RT fire smashing down on the base. Taking out the SMD would be nice, because then the nuke from Bill Cosby, which is probably loaded by now, almost, could really do the damage. But there's just so much damage raining down here. Well, that, I think, was Sandman resigning, and Kefka has given everything to B. B, the game's lowest rated player, has been left with an entire eco to handle, and I would not hold it against him were he to resign at this stage. Nova Seas are powering down on him. Let's speed things up a bit. He is trying another salvation, and he's got half of it done. And I don't know if they know about it or where his comm is, and he's not stopping the push. So props to B for trying. He's got restorers out. He's pushing in here. Okay, maybe I'll slow it down again and see what's going on. Rambo Com is pushing forward, but they push into 2 chickens, an unfortunate mistake. There's also a chicken here, and the trickle of units from B is not going to be enough to break through there. These restorers could do something, but out comes the nuke from Bill. We'll see where that goes in a second, after these restorers meet what I suspect is their inevitable demise at the hands of vast banks of flak. Yeah, look at that there, going down. So B has been brave, but he has not done enough to win the day. His salvation, though, is up and firing. However, when Novak's immediately targets it, he's got a game ender up. And I almost choked there with the excitement. But no sooner is the game ender up than the game ender is down. And that is that. A few salvation shots do fall down upon the base of RedhairyLlama. But it's not going to be enough. It does break a couple of shields, but I don't think it's even going to destroy anything. Kefka, who was still in there for some reason, calls it, as the entire area here is decimated by the... And B is still playing. He's not given up yet. This is certainly courageous, and we must give him the props for trying. But I think it is rather futile, and he has to got a Novak sticking around over here. And he started another salvation. He is not giving up here. And the ecos are still technically level, but it's the units. The infrastructure and the artillery is all there for North Team. There is nothing there for South Team. So despite the level ecos, despite the map control still actually being in B's favour, he's just not got enough to get through. And his air grid is the next target of the arty. I think that is about to go up. Dimot says, you can right-click a comm with arty, saying in an attempt to get the game over and done with. As SCUs go popping there. And there is the air grid. It is being smashed by the arty. The comm is pung. The Novaseas could target him. The arty could target him. And I think that would be the kindest thing to do at this time. And an artillery shot hits B in the face. With his T3 and double shield, he's got a lot of hits to work through, but the arty will probably work through it in the end. But they don't need to. B does accept the inevitable and resign. So despite the map control, despite the eco lead for most of the game, it is somehow a victory for North Team. South Team felt so close to closing it out, and yet they just couldn't do it. So, player of game, I'm really not sure. Please tell me what you think in the comments below. I did enjoy the triple comm push from Sandman, B and Kefka in about 17 minutes in, but they couldn't make it work. They couldn't break through with it, so maybe that doesn't count. As for player of game, MVP, I would say it's probably got to be Bill Cosby for his excellent air work, keeping any of the donuts really from doing anything. As usual, tell me what you thought in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I'm TheCommissar, and I will see you next time.